They say love is beautiful, but what happens when love finds you from the other side? Once upon a time, nestled high up in the mountains, shrouded by mist and legend, there was an old village. Time seemed to slow down in this place, where houses clung to the hillside like ancient memories, and the wind carried secrets through the valleys. In the very heart of this timeless village lived Mahwish, a young girl whose beauty was only matched by the sorrow in her heart. Her parents had died in a terrible car accident when she was just a child, leaving her in the care of her ailing aunt. Years passed, and Mahwish found solace in her books, her thoughts, and the towering mountains that surrounded their village. She had no siblings, no friends, just the whispering pines and the cold embrace of loneliness. Then something strange began to happen. Night after night, as the full moon bathed her room in its silvery light, she felt a chilling presence envelop her. It was the kind of cold that seeped into your bones, and it always came after midnight when the world was hushed and still. At first, she dismissed it as a trick of the mountain wind, but the occurrences were relentless, accompanied by the eerie glow of her oil lamp flickering without a breath of wind. And then there were the dreams. Oh, how vivid and haunting they were. Dreams of a sprawling garden bathed in golden sunlight, of a sky so clear it hurt her eyes, and of a man so tall and handsome that he seemed to glow. His features were sharp, his eyes like polished amber, and he had a smile that promised warmth but hid a hint of sadness. Every night he would call her name, his voice a deep rumble that echoed in her soul. "Mahwish, you don't have to be lonely anymore. I'm here now, Mahwish." But when she reached out to him, he would always be just out of her grasp. Then she would wake up, his words echoing in her ears, and the memory of his touch lingering on her skin. Days turned into weeks, and Mahwish found herself drawn to the dreams, craving the touch and the sound of his voice. Reality seemed dull compared to her dreams, and she spent her waking hours in a daze, her mind adrift in the gardens of her subconscious. Her aunt, sensing her niece's strange behavior, grew worried. "Who are you spending so much time with, Mahwish?" she asked one evening, her voice trembling with concern. Mahwish, startled, looked up from her book. "He loves me," she whispered, her eyes distant. That night, her aunt fell violently ill. 2 days later, she passed away in her sleep, her face frozen in a silent scream. And soon after, Mahwish found herself alone in the world, trapped in a prison of her own making. But that's when everything changed. The dreams, they became real. She saw him standing in her room, his eyes glowing in the dim light, his presence a tangible thing in the space between them. "How are you here?" she stammered, fear gripping her heart. "I've always been here," he replied calmly. "You invited me in, your heart called for me, and I answered." Then she remembered the whispers in the dark, the touch in the night, the promises of love. And with dawning horror, she realized he wasn't human, but a Jinn, a creature of immense power and unfathomable darkness, attracted to her loneliness and despair. The Jinn took on a human form. He was beautiful, yes, but his beauty was a lie, a mere illusion to capture her heart. Soon, he became a fixture in her life, appearing at her side whenever she pleased, showering her with gifts and promises. Anyone else would have rejoiced, but she despaired, for she knew his love was a curse that would drag her into the abyss of darkness. She tried to resist, to push him away, but he wouldn't budge. "You can't escape me, Mahwish," he would say, his voice a silken thread winding around her sanity. "You need me, and I need your love." But she refused to yield. So he resorted to threats, causing mayhem in her life, turning her world upside down. Desperate for help, she sought out an old spiritual healer from the city. After listening to her tale, the healer gave her a black thread and a piece of paper inscribed with ancient verses. "This is a powerful Jinni," he said gravely, "and he won't let you go without a fight. But with these, you stand a chance. And so that night, armed with the thread and the verses, Mahwish braced for battle. As the moon climbed higher in the sky, she could feel the Jinn's presence growing stronger, his anger rising like a storm. But she held her ground, reciting the verses, her voice ringing with newfound strength. The room filled with blinding light and deafening thunder, and when the dust settled, the Jinn was gone. In the days that followed, Mahwish's life slowly returned to normal, but the memory of that night lingered like a half-forgotten dream. And sometimes when the wind was just right, she could almost hear his voice whispering through the trees. "You are mine, Mahwish, and I will return.